Hi.
What is love?
Okay, so there are a lot of artists out there that have a persona, basically a little guy that helps people easily recognize them and their art, particularly on YouTube, like Lavender Town, Calimara, Emma Artley, Ginger Ninja, and there are a lot of videos out there wanting to teach you how to make one. But is having a persona completely 100% necessary to being a successful artist? Is it necessary to being an artist in general? Well, no, not really, or at least in my opinion. But if that's true, then why does the channel look like this now? Why do I look like this? Even though persona isn't completely necessary to have, it can be really helpful and sometimes crucial to creating a brand. And having a brand as an artist is actually way more important if you plan to monetize your skill with long-term success. So in today's video, I'll talk about how branding has worked for other artists and how and why you may want to create your own. First off, what is a brand? Like, what does that mean? A brand is basically an identity that companies or businesses use to be easily recognized and distinguish themselves from each other. There's a lot of products out there, lots of things to buy, so businesses use symbols, colors, phrases, jingles, mascots, or familiar faces to give themselves a memorable, iconic identity in the consumer's brain. Most of us fall into this category, and companies do this so their products or services quickly come to mind when you're ready to buy them. And so we recognize their products when we see them. Insurance, fast food, groceries, online shopping, streaming services, even drag queens have a brand. Right now you may be thinking,
Okay.
what the fuck does this have to do with me? Well, having a brand isn't just for big companies or drag queens. It can apply to virtually anyone who is selling something with a strong need to stand out from others, especially if they're surrounded by other people that offer something similar. Now, you may be the only artist in your family, but let me hold your hand when I say this. Lots of people can draw. So you, as an artist, definitely fall into the category as someone who would probably need a brand to be easily recognized in the vast sea of the many artists out there. I think because our art is so personal to us and who we are, we have a hard time looking at it as a product. And since we have a hard time seeing it as a product, it can be difficult to monetize it. But a brand should help you do that. Branding isn't just a bunch of pretty bells and whistles or meaningless decoration for your YouTube channel or your social medias. Your brand is also supposed to help you understand what direction you're going in. What are your short-term goals, long-term goals? What does being a successful artist look like for you specifically?
Okay, but I still don't care to think about this stuff. I just want to draw, girl. I mean,
Understandable. The beauty of art is that you're a human being that made something. And if you want art as a hobby, you can think of it as just that. I'm a person that made something new, and that's great. You don't have to see your art as a product. But if you want to make money off of art, you kind of have to. Of course, you're not a machine that can pump out art by the second for cheap, instant gratification. You definitely want an overall healthy and positive relationship with your art and keep it as a part of something that is beautiful and personal to you. It would suck if you started hating art because you constantly felt the need to post and sell. But you also want to make sure you're putting out enough art and content to stay relevant and profitable. It's a difficult balance that many artists struggle with, but a brand is also supposed to help lift that weight off of your shoulders. A brand usually helps you stay relevant because it's supposed to keep you memorable and iconic even when you're not working and posting. Let's use Lavender Town as an example when it comes to relevancy. Even when she hasn't posted a video, it's not like she completely vanishes from your mind because she's built an identity online that sticks with you. You may be waiting for her to post again, and maybe you'll check her channel for a video if it doesn't pop up in your notifications. And that's another benefit to a brand. It brings loyalty. It allows people to get to know you from a distance and gets them invested in you, especially if your branding is consistent.
I am so excited, I think I'm gonna explode!
It can allow people to be more connected with you and like you're on the same wavelength, even if you've never met before. And yes, Lavender Town posts a variety of content, whether it be tutorials, art challenges, or critiquing tropes in media. But at the end of the day, Haley is consistent. She's known for content that tracks back to art in some way. More specifically, this creepy, cute art style that we see in her other video ideas as well as her webcomic. They're all consistently cute and creepy. You know that. I know that, and that makes us remember her. So number one, you should have identity and goals as the foundation to your brand.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
As artists, our art style is usually the thing that helps us stand out amongst each other. What makes you different though could be your art style, or it could be your sense of humor, or both, or even your wisdom. For example, Pigeon Doll is another artist here on YouTube, but his content is pretty different from Lavender Town's. For one, Joshua McKinney doesn't focus on long form content like Haley does. Instead, there's a focus on bite-sized content, traditional art, whether it be his handmade dolls or on paper designs of exaggerated, colorful fashion. And he often has personal anecdotes playing over these videos from his own life growing up as a queer boy with an interest in fashion and femininity. This makes him stand out. This makes him relatable. It's a part of his brand as an artist. It's not just his art style that helps people know him and care about him, but it's also his wisdom and his life experiences. But also the femininity that we see in his designs, in his art, along with his doll making, it's his passion, obviously, and it drives all of his work. Everything that he's involved in pretty much kind of traces back to Pigeon Doll. So think about what inspires you. What do you want to see in your own art? What is your goal as an artist? Do you want to own your own clothing brand one day, or just like a smaller online shop that you have on the side? Do you actually want to do commissions, or is that the only thing you can think of? Do you want to be an illustrator for other people's stories, or do you have your own projects and stories that you want to tell? What stories do you want to tell? Personal anecdotes about your own life, or fictional fantastical stories, or social commentary comics? Do you want to make people laugh? Do you want to make people cry? Do you want to make people think? Where will you tell these stories and how? Social media, physical publishing, or maybe you'll create comics just for Patreon but advertise it on other platforms. I've seen people do that. Will you be a mostly traditional artist like Pigeon Doll, or a mostly digital artist like Lavender Town? Do you want to focus on long form 15 to 20 minute videos or short form content? Obviously, you don't have to choose a single thing from all these questions and suggestions. You can be an illustrator for other people with your own online shop, or do commissions while posting on YouTube. Most artists make money from multiple streams of revenue. $200 here, $300 here, $100 here. The goal for most artists who don't just see it as a hobby is that it adds up enough at the end of the month to be livable. Instead of just watching this video alone, I recommend that you watch other videos here on YouTube on how to profit as an artist when building your brand, but also brainstorm some ways yourself, because artists can get pretty creative when it comes to different ways to make money. Basically, know your artistic goals and your purpose, because that influences what platforms you use, what kind of content you'll make, and what you'll sell.
What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What
It's...
do you want? What do you want?
I have to go.
Number two, part of having a brand as an artist is the visuals. What art style, fonts, or colors or symbols are associated with your brand? Lavender Town uses a lot of black and white, but the pink hair, blue eyes, and pale skin in her persona also helps distinguish her. Emily Artley uses dreamy 2000s blues, and her channel in general is kind of themed around 2000s nostalgia and vintage video games. Specifically, it feels like she's taking inspiration from that 2000s aquacore aesthetic, and it's really creative and cool with how she incorporates it. And Kalimara has a water and pond theme that feels more comforting and lovely, and a little relaxing with light pinks and blues. I'm not sure why some of these creators chose these themes, but it probably stemmed from aesthetics and things that they like that are also personal to them. But let's move away from YouTubers a bit so you can see how to apply this universally. Okay, so while She Sell is technically on YouTube, it seems like her focus and revenue is on her online shop and Patreon. Her shop and branding in general has a very high feminine pink pop feel to it. We see this in the colors that she's chosen for her website, her channel, her logo, the products she's selling, and even the name of her brand. It's all consistent with a recognizable theme. As I said, when choosing your own theme and colors, you don't want to be careless with it. You want to give it some thought. Brainstorming ideas, then creating a few mood boards should help you figure out what color palette and theme you're leaning toward. For example, the channel now has a space theme, and I'm specifically leaning towards shades of pink, green, and purple as a color palette. Anyway, basically think about your brand's visuals and aesthetic and how it affects art you may sell or create. Number 3, who is your target audience and what value are you providing to them? Some art tubers will post tutorials or art challenge videos for the artistic part of their viewers, and the redesigns and rewrites may appeal to people who love animation and stories. Obviously, there's going to be some crossover there, which is ideal. Either way, that is value. You are teaching them something, or complaining about something that they also hate, invalidating their opinions, or giving them art and ideas when they love art and ideas. If you're a not safe for work artist, your audience should be adults, and you may keep up with what characters or pairings are trending in adult spaces that your audience would want to see. There may be specific characters that you're known for, and that ties back to your identity and goals. For example, this artist has a brand based on this cartoony but well-rendered art style, in which they draw gender bends of the Disney princesses, as well as not safe for work art of these gender bends, and not safe for work art of feminine men in general. You've probably seen their more appropriate work somewhere on Pinterest or TikTok. To reiterate on the point of your identity and inspiration, this is something unique to them, something they're known for, and obviously something that inspires them that they like drawing. But this is also relevant for our target audience and value. If they completely stopped drawing femboys one day, their followers and patrons probably would not like that shit at all, because this is something they've come to expect and want to see.
Look, bitch, I don't think you get it. Alright? That chef back there changed my life, and I'll wait here as long as it takes until I get to talk to that beautiful man you got back there. I just want to talk.
It looks like this has been fairly successful branding, even though they're profiting from characters that technically don't belong to them. But maybe we can get into copyright law and loopholes that artists use to get around it in a separate video. Anyway, if you have an online store, knowing your target audience will help you understand not only how to price your products, but what products you should offer. Like, if your customers are younger, you may want to start off with smaller, cheaper items. As a college student, I can't afford a $40 hoodie. It doesn't matter how much I like you in your videos, but I can afford a $3 or $4 sticker, or maybe a $12 pin or keychain. And knowing your audience will tell you what designs they'd probably want to see in your store. Again, I'm 21. I'll buy this, but I won't buy this. My mama might, but she's a woman in her 40s. See how that kind of makes a huge difference? Understanding your customers and the value you provide to them will make sure you don't pivot to things that they have no interest in terms of content or products. Number 3, choose a name for your brand as an artist, and make sure it's a name that is not synonymous with some other business, some other artist, or even a popular character. Basically, don't choose something like Jinx for your brand. I know some of you really like that character, or maybe you have no idea who that is. Either way, if someone searches for your name trying to find your art, they're not going to find it. It's going to be drowned under Jinx fan art, Jinx edits, Jinx cosplays, or the really problematic BL webcomic.
Oh, princess!
You're going to have to do so much work and work so much harder to make that name your own. And if you really want to do that, I want to be Jinx the artist, I want to be Jinx the artist.
Go ahead, do it. Get dropped on your neck bone.
Really, you can do it, but I wouldn't do it. Also, wouldn't choose something too short and vague, or a name that's too long and hard to remember. Just keep it in between and unique to you. Number 4, decide what platforms you're going to be on. Again, this ties into what you draw. If you do not safe for work, you're gonna probably need a Twitter account. No. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. No. TikTok, Instagram, Tumblr, Pinterest, YouTube, they don't permit that kind of stuff. Now, there are probably more obscure platforms out there that allow or even encourage dirty drawings, but out of the major social medias that people visit daily, Twitter is really the only one that does. And keep your branding consistent throughout all of your platforms and consistent in general. Once you've answered all of these questions and you finally have a brand that you're comfortable with, you're going to want to stick with it for a little while. Part of why branding works is because it allows people to remember, recognize, and care about your work. It gets them invested. But if you're changing your recognizable symbols, colors, and style every week or even every year, it's not going to work that well for you. Which brings me to this channel. I've had quite a few changes around here. The channel is only 2 years old, and if you count the current change, the branding has been reworked at least twice a year, which is bad. It's not just the look of it either, but also the channel name has changed a few times, and that inconsistency probably isn't too good for the algorithm. This is the challenge of creating a brand as a young artist. You're still figuring out who you are, what you like, and what you want to draw, and how you want to be perceived. So it's hard to curate an identity online if you don't even have your real life identity figured out. I think the best way to get around this is to relax. Don't speed through it and think on it. Take your time. Some people can just start posting and maybe fall into a brand without realizing it. They know who they are, they're posting art that they like, and people like it too, and it just happens. I don't know. But if you're not that type of person, your brand should be crafted with heavy consideration and effort. My biggest mistake as an artist is when I rush things. My art quality drops insanely when I do, and when I speed through my decisions, I end up going back and undoing everything I decided. Every other time I created sprites or other assets for this channel, I sped through. I rushed through all of these aesthetics and names for myself, which is why they never stuck for me. I grew out of them. I didn't like them after a little while, which is fine. I was 18 or 19 when I first started posting. I didn't know who I was. I'm still figuring that out, but I cannot stress enough that there's a big jump between 18 and 21. These failures make sense when you think about how little I knew about myself at the time. I drew my persona to be more feminine and clearly female, and I don't like being perceived that way. I know myself a little bit better now and felt comfortable enough to craft a brand with what I know. Now, I've talked about the success stories of branding as an artist. Now we'll kind of get into what not to do. Number 1, don't just choose generic aesthetics and colors that you like. Make it more personal. For me, just liking the aesthetics wasn't enough. I like feminine and pink stuff and black alternative stuff, but again, I grew out of those visuals fairly quickly. Even if I still liked the aesthetic, I didn't like it for the channel. My reasoning for choosing them was too surface level and didn't properly connect to my identity or the channel. So I gave it some thought and created Min, or Minnow, which is basically this little alien thing that's personal to me for a few reasons. For one, I wanted to focus on space specifically because I plan to bring back rewrites and different OCs to the channel, and I want to fill these videos with a lot of concepts and lots of art to feel like different planets that we're exploring. But also because growing up, I really did feel like an alien around other people, and not in a good, edgy outcast sort of way. I couldn't read social cues that well. It was hard to tell when people were joking or if I was a joke. I rarely responded the way anyone wanted me to something they said or did. And, you know, my family wanted to help me find my own way of dressing that'd be most comfortable and confident to me, but they were doing it based on who they thought I should be and not actually who I was. I don't even think they knew who I was. I think they just, you know, shoved me into the generic girl box. So I was encouraged to wear feminine form-fitting clothing, which made the feelings even worse because I was like, why do I feel so performative and fake wearing these things? I was so insecure and awkward with so much anxiety. Some days I just didn't feel human at all, and I really felt like I was not supposed to be here.
Bro, seriously, is this a how-to video or a therapy session?
But I don't feel as consumed or overwhelmed by those feelings anymore. Sometimes I do, but regardless, I decided to incorporate them into something cool and fun, healing instead of hurtful and damaging. This branding, it's personal, it's real, it's a part of who I am, and so I have a legitimate attachment to Minnow, and I want to put her face on everything, which is perfect for a brand. If it's personal, it won't be so easy to discard. You'll be attached and you'll want to hold on to it. Okay, this is me from the future editing this. I chose the name Little Delinquent, obviously to correlate to Girl Delinquent, but also because my dad always makes fun of my height, and a word that he uses constantly is little this, little that, you're so little, like...
Specifically uses the word little to describe my height.
My family thought I was gonna be like really tall growing up because I was just such a lanky, long-armed person, but...
I am small.
Anyway, back to the video. Number 2, maybe don't base your brand off your OCs if they're changing all the time. The reason that this artist and Disney can use the Disney princesses as a part of their brand is because the princesses are stable in their designs and their stories. But if your characters are changing drastically in design and writing daily or even monthly, it's just harder to incorporate them into your branding. At least it was for me. If your characters stay relatively the same or you make a few changes here and there, it should be completely fine. I actually think people want to see characters occasionally updated, but maybe not reworked entirely all the time, every day, forever. I mean, my watchers say that they don't mind the constant reworking and that they find it relatable, and I'm sure that's true, but I'm also sure that they have certain things that they want or expect to remain the same.
9/11 was bad.
I agree with that.
9/11. 9/11.
But including your own characters and your branding is definitely okay. There are a lot of artists out there that are known for specific OCs, whether it be from a graphic novel they're working on or a webtoon or maybe an animated series that's in the works. So that branding aligns up with their goals. The problem comes in when there's absolutely no consistency. Number 3, if you can't decide on a brand, that's okay. You may still be figuring out who you are both as an artist and a person. There's no shame if you choose things for your brand only to realize soon after that you don't like it. This is the benefit of being a smaller creator. You have room to experiment with branding a little because not many people are watching. People barely know you at all, let alone know you for something in particular. Bigger artists like Lavender Town or Pigeon Doll would have a hard time doing a complete 180 with their branding at this time in their career. But as a small creator, it won't hurt you as much. But keep in mind that if you want to grow, you'll have to settle on something eventually. As an art YouTuber who felt like they really don't have a recognizable art style, I thought I really needed a persona, but again, you have to evaluate what you'll be doing as an artist to determine if a persona is necessary for you. Do not feel like you have to do YouTube as an artist. I just used a lot of those examples because YouTube lines up with my goals and plans, but art has so much variety and flexibility. There's so many ways to be an artist online. You just have to give it some thought and maybe some research. But let me know if any of this advice was helpful or if it encouraged you to start working on your brand as an artist, or if at least it showed you that it's kind of important and something you want to think about in the near future. I feel like this video is not a masterclass in branding. It's a very like basic jumping off point for people like me who were drawing in high school and wasn't even thinking about branding, just like, oh well, I'll just draw and I'll do this, and branding and being an artist online and how to do that didn't even cross my mind. This is a nice starting point. You have more work to do after this video, to clarify that, because some people think when I make content I'm trying to say I know everything and that this one video is the end all be all. Okay, I have to cut in from the future really quick. I was being a little catty in this section, but I have to clarify what I mean by like you have more work to do. Basically, this video is supposed to give you an idea of like what direction you want to go in. If you watch this and you were like, oh, I want to base my branding off of Space Kittens or something like that, and I want to have an online store selling bags and pins with Space Kittens on it, I don't know, then it's like, okay, you specifically are probably going to need a logo, you're probably going to need a website, you're going to need to figure out, do I want to ship these items from my house and package them personally, or do I want to use a third-party seller like Etsy and have them ship the items off for me? Now those are two different processes, so you're going to have to watch a few videos on how to do either one if you've never done that before. If you watch this video and you're like, okay, I know I want to be a not safe for work artist and what I want to draw is cat girls and tentacles.
Wow.
Then you're gonna need to figure out, okay, like where are you going to be advertising your Patreon? You might need to create like a buffer of content, figure out what tiers you're gonna be doing. All of you are probably going to need like profile pictures and banners for your social medias. Based on what direction you choose to go in, it's all gonna be very unique and personal to you. Some of you are not gonna need a logo. Some of you are not gonna need a website. Some of you may not need a Patreon. The work that you're gonna be doing after this video, the research, the extra videos you'll watch to figure out what streams of revenue you'll have and how to do those streams of revenue, it's all going to probably vary. Anyway, I just had to clarify that because I felt like maybe that wasn't clear in the video, that this is definitely not the last stop. There's still lots of work to do. I also have to clarify, I did not take on the name Min or Minnow because of any Asian culture. I named them that because Min is literally the second half of my birth name. I could have done Ms because it's Zim backwards, but it sounds like Miss. Didn't love that. But I still wanted a 3-letter name to hint at like Invader Zim. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of non-binary people taking on names from culture that they're not a part of. So I have to make it clear that that is not what this is. So to reiterate, Min is a part of my more feminine given name. Also, I am bringing back different series on the channel, like Hyperfixation Deviations, which is basically where I talk about my most recent hyperfixation. So the next video will be about K-pop demon hunters.
Wow.
You can expect a Super Bat video, which I'm really excited about. And then we also have Old Scraps. Old Scraps, which will also be a series where I redraw and discuss old stories that I was really passionate about and no longer plan to work on. Little Critiques, where I'll criticize different media, and Little Chats that will focus on discussions that I've seen online that I want to weigh in on. For example, there's been kind of some uproar about if straight ships are inherently boring, so I have a lot to say about that. And also how-tos like this video. Obviously, we're still going to talk about Project CD as the rewrite is making really good progress, but it's going to be a while before we get another video on it. I just realized that the story is changing way too much for me to base my whole channel and brand off of, as I said earlier. Or if you have other video ideas, I would love to have like multiple series on the channel, like I said. But anyway, I hope this video will be of some use to you, even if you don't plan on making your brand now. Maybe it'll help you in the future. But that's it. I'm done talking, and I'll see you in the next video.